All right. Let's begin. Om ajïäna-timirändhasya jnanāञ्जन-çaläkayä chakṣurunmīlitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudpadkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvishe Namaha. We finished the Gita Mahatmya yesterday. And the most important part of the Gita Mahatmya where first one should read Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness. And by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of their past misdeeds will be gone. And then in Gita, in the end of the Gita, Lord declares boldly one statement he gives. He says, Sarva dharman parityajya. Abandon all varieties of religion. It's such a powerful statement if we believe it. He says you don't have to fear about anything. Whether you are doing any religious things perfectly or imperfectly. Whether you are, in the world when we live, everybody expects perfection from us. Everybody has a dharma. Dharma means prescribed duties. A father has a dharma towards his kids. A mother has a dharma, same dharma. Father, mother, parents have the same dharma towards their kids. Parents naturally will do all the best for their kids. But there are times when the kids will feel, when they grow up, they'll have complaints. You didn't do this, you didn't do that. But they did. So doing that thing, whatever you are supposed to do, whatever, that is your dharma. You cannot, if you brought a child to the world, it is your dharma to take care of them, to give them the best, whatever you can. That is your dharma. You cannot escape from there. Dharma of a husband and a wife is to be loyal towards each other. Dharma of a husband and wife is to help each other grow spiritually. In our Sanskriti, Hindu culture, a family life is not just a family life. It is called as Grihastha Ashram. I always put emphasis on this word, ashram. Because everybody wants to go and live in some ashram. It's a very natural desire of spiritual people. Oh, I want to live in an ashram. What ashram? Which ashram you want to go? Make your home an ashram. This ashram is called Grihastha ashram, the ashram of a householder. Ashram is not made out of, like when you say, oh, I want to go to some ashram. What is it that is going on in your head? What do you think about that ashram? Oh, some place where you will be spiritually living. But eventually that ashram is also made out of 4 walls, right? But why is it so attractive? Why do you want to leave everything and go to that place? Because God's name is being taken there. Because satsang is happening there. And you feel that if I go and have the satsanga, I'll feel nice. So I want to go to some ashram. It's the same thing. If you can do it at your home, satsanga, kirtan, bhajan, chanting, your home is an ashram. No difference. So in Hindu culture, when a girl and a boy marries, it is the marriage of a Shiva and Parvati. That's how it is. There's a ritual before marriage. The girl and the boy have to fast. Earlier days, it used to be 3 days because they have to purify themselves for the consummation of that marriage. They are pure beings. Purify bodily, purify mentally, chant God's name. There are so many rituals where you were connected with God. The girl side also is doing it, and the boy side is doing it at their home, and then they get married. So the mantras in the procedure was Shiva is marrying with Parvati. You both are the extension of Shiva and Parvati. Now you are going to start a family. Your children also will be an extension of Shiva and Parvati. The world will go on. You are helping, you are doing your role and serving Lord by doing your role. Be like Shiva and Parvati, loyal to each other under all circumstances. You look at Shiva, he sits in the graveyard. He's not the kind of person, very well civilized. He looks very uncivilized, his whole get-up. But Parvati doesn't have any repulsion towards him. She just loves him wholeheartedly. And same way with Shiva. He loves her wholeheartedly. No matter she didn't listen to him and she went for the fire sacrifice at her father's place, the Daksha. But when she burnt herself into Daksha's fire, Shiva comes there, cries, takes her body. And her body falls at different places in India, in 52 places. And those places are called Shaktipeeth. One of them is Kamakhya. All the stories we know. But beyond the stories, as I always tell, put the lens of love and you will see the couple's love for each other. No matter what Parvati's father said, how Shiva is, she just loved him. Love was supreme in this couple's life. The whole house, I have explained it in previously also, the whole house, everybody's different personality. But they are bonded together by love. Lord Shiva always is chanting the name of Rama, and Parvati is also chanting the name of Rama, and Ganesha is also chanting the name of Rama. So this kind of family has been given to us as an example when we get into married life. Be loyal to each other, love each other. Despite all differences, love should be the main thing in every household. And how will you do that? Keep chanting God's name, keep chanting God's name, keep chanting God's name. Ram, Ram, Rameti, Rame, Rame, Manorame. That's it. Under all circumstances, chant Lord Rama's name. That's it. Make your home ashram. Ashram is where Ram lives. Make your home in ashram. So we enter a grihastha ashram. Everybody has prescribed duties to do. Like I told you, husband, wife prescribe duties towards each other, parents prescribe duties towards the children, children have some dharma towards the parent. All these dharmas, there could be little imperfections while executing them. Apart from this, you have your own religious dharma. Somebody is a Hindu, Christian, whatever. Those religious books, whatever you're following, those religious dharmas you have to do. Apart from that, you have this dharma goes on. You have a dharma for your society, the place where you live. You have a dharma for your nation, loyalty to the nation. You have a dharma for the entire universe. You have a dharma for everything. You may execute it perfectly or imperfectly. God says, forget not. Forget it all. Don't worry. Fear not. Krishna says, whether you do them perfectly or imperfectly, I do not. It is immaterial to me. Abandon all varieties of religion and surrender unto me. Oh Krishna, but if I don't do these duties properly, what about the sins that I will incur? Krishna says, don't worry about the sins. I'll take care of you. Abandon all varieties of religion and then surrender unto me. I will deliver you from all the sinful reactions. Do not fear. And then Gita Mahatma said, Malanor nirmochanam pumsam, that every day we take bath. Sometimes twice, sometimes thrice. At least once we take it. To cleanse our body. If we don't take bath for 2 days, just see how we feel very bad. The way we are taking bath every day to cleanse our body, similarly, we have to bathe our minds every day. Outside we cleansed it, but what about internal cleansing? How do we clean our mind, which is in the world and which collects all this dirt from the world? So many reactions, happen the whole day and it goes and gets stored in the subconscious mind. How will I clean that? Anger, competition, rat race, aggressiveness, desires, unfulfilled desires, jealousy, depression, anxiety, stress. How many things we experience the entire day? How many emotions we experience the entire day? All that emotions are stored as some residually. Is there inside. And you have to clean all of that. How do you do that? That it says, Sakrita Gita Mritasmana Snanam. By cleansing, you have to cleanse it by the teachings of Bhagavad Gita every day. One may cleanse himself daily by taking bath in water, but if one takes bath once in the sacred Ganges of Bhagavad Gita, for him, the dirt of material life will be totally vanquished. Then they say, why is this Gita so important? Because this was spoken by Padmanabhasya Mukha Padmad Vinirsita. It came out by the mouth of lotus face, Sri Vishnu, Bhagwan himself. God incarnated to give this message. It is not given by an ordinary person. It is not given by the son of God or the messenger or prophet. It is not given by this. God says, Krishna says, I am. Not only does he say, he proves by showing his cosmic form when we reach 11th chapter. And not only did he show it to Arjuna, he showed it to many others. That proof is also he has given. Not at one place, many places he performed miracles which are extraordinary. And while he was alive, some people realized him, some people could not. And after he left, all the saints sat down and said, yes, he came, he did so much, But he did it in such a nice manner. He was so disguised. Only very few people can realize his presence. Not everybody. Krishna said, I am God, means I am God. I'll prove you. And he does that in chapter 11. Not only in chapter 11, he showed the cosmic form, but every shloka he will speak, every shloka he will speak, and you will feel him in your heart. You will feel him talking. You will feel him holding your hands. You will feel him. That is the magic of Gita. It is spoken by Lord Shri Krishna, Lord Bhagwan himself. All right. And then, so one only need to read it and hear it attentively. And in the present life, we are so engaged in mundane activities. So to get relief from that, one must read Gita, because Gita has the essence of all the Vedic literatures. If one knows Gita, he knows everything. Any book you pick up after reading Gita, you will understand it so easily. So easily. You'll thank God. You'll thank Krishna for making you understand this. All right. And then those who desire of salvation, it says, Bharatamrita sarvasam Vishnu Vaktrad Vinisritam. One who drinks the water of Ganges will attain the salvation. But the real water of Ganges is the Gita teachings. One who drinks this attains salvation while living in this body. Then the next shloka comes, Sarvopnishad Gavo Dogda Gopala Nandanaha. That this is called Gita Upanishad. We started saying that people want to read Vedic literature, so you are reading one Upanishad, Gita Upanishad. And in this Gita Upanishad, he says, this is the essence of all the Upanishad, and it is just like a cow, and Lord Krishna is like the cowherd boy, Gopal, and he is the one. And Arjuna is just like a calf, and learned scholars and pure devotees are to drink the nectarian milk of Bhagavad Gita. There is always this talk. People should have one Shastra. Then Shankaracharya says, Ekam Shastram. Ekam Shastram Devki Putra Geetam, Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva. Ekam Shastra means there's only one scripture. If somebody wants to read only one scripture, Gita is enough. Devaki Putra, and if somebody wants to follow just one God, Shri Krishna is enough. If somebody wants to chant mantras, Shri Krishna's mantras is enough. If somebody wants to do some karmas, serving the Lord, Shri Krishna is the highest karma. You have completed. You're done. Only if you follow these four things. This is what Shankaracharya told. We'll start with the first chapter now. Let me first take one questions here. Or whatever. Okay. Gaurav writes, Ma, since you had talked about fear, kindly help me with my fear. I read the Katha of Mandavya Rishi, how he had to suffer a karma of 100 lifetimes back. A karma done in young age of pricking a fly with shul. Yes. He was punished by the king on the bed of thorns for a theft he didn't do. He was in deep samadhi. Here God's name also didn't save or absolved him of his karma. What chance do I have? What chance do I have? I would have done many karmas in this lifetime itself. Forget about 100 lifetimes back. Whatever you're quoting, those are from different yugas. Satyugas, Treta Yugas, and Dwapar Yugas. In those times, people had longer lives. And so the process for salvation was very, very complicated. But we have entered Kali Yuga. And when we read Bhagavatam, it says in Bhagavatam, when you go to the final conclusion, that this Kali Yuga has many defects because of the age of Kali. But it has one positive point, and the greatest point. What? It says just by simply chanting God's name, one is liberated. And when same way I consulted my teachers in Vrindavan, and they were like, yes, God's name is more than enough in this yuga. all those very complicated processes of yajna, tapa, dhyana, meditation, it was applicable in those times. But in this yuga, it is not applicable. In this yuga, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Kevalam. That's it. That alone can deliver you. Many souls of those yuga want to incarnate in this yuga because they could not find that final liberation. Okay. But the only problem with this yuga is to find that parents who are very pure, to bring such souls. That's the only problem. But this yuga, we are very, very blessed to be born in Kali Yuga, because just by chanting God's name, our work is done. So be assured, what you quoted about them is for that yuga, not for this. It's just like, many years ago, if my grandma, she got married at a very young age, 9 or 10 years old. Then she came to her father-in-law, to the in-laws place. And then she could not go back to her mother's place at all in her lifetime. And I asked her why. She's like, I've forgotten first of all the place. And secondly, in those times to travel, we had to take the bullock cart and then go. So times have changed, right? It seems so ancient to us. My mother had to take a bullock cart and go to her mother's place. My grandma had to take a bullock cart and go to her mother's place, and she has completely forgotten about it. And she could not go in her lifetime again. For me, I have traveled 7 seas overseas, and I can plan any time to come to India. I can just take a flight and come to India. Times have changed. So similarly, Kali Yuga is different. You have the opportunity to take a flight and straight away reach to Godhead just by taking the names. Okay, this is the law of Kali Yuga. All right. Rares writes, Jai Gurudev, Jai Krishna, about dharma. I have a burning question. There was a story about Rama. He said some mantra in a ritual. Some person from a lower caste listened to mantra. He had that person punished very harshly with lead poured inside his ear. A bit too harsh, I think. Is this story accurate? I'm sorry, Rares, I have not heard about this story. Really. I don't think so. Raam can do this. No way. Raam is known for his compassion. Raam is known for his gentle behavior. Raam will not do that. I don't know who made up this story and from where you have read it. Seriously, I have no idea. If it is, I personally think, yes, Raam is very compassionate. If it is, I personally think compassion is important. Also, Rama casted Sita out of the kingdom after Ramayana war. He obtained Sita back from Ravana. Still, after a short time, he exiled her. Hanuman was sad about it from the story. I understand because of the gossip and peacekeeping, dharma keeping in the realm. Still, to cast out Sita and for them both to grow old, separated from each other after such a huge war, seems like a very sad story indeed. In my subjective mind, those prove avtaras also make mistakes. Thank you for patience and kindness to respond how to see such harsh acts. Yes, I agree with you, Ares, on that point. When I was young, same thing, what you have raised the point that how can he leave his wife like this? And I was so angry. I had such anger in me that even when I used to go to temples, if I used to see Lord Rama, I would just turn my face away. I don't want to even bow down to you. Maybe people are thinking you are God, but to me, you are not God. That's how my anger was towards him, the rage inside me. I asked the same question to so many people, but nobody could actually reply. The Leela is very complicated to understand. If I use my logic or my thing, I could not understand it and I did not like it. Slowly, I think it's only his grace that, it happens. One day, me who did not like Lord Rama for this act, it so happened, my papa, my father, Swami Divachetnanand, he had taken all of us to Ujjain. It's the place of Lord Shiva, Mahakal. And there was a program. My father's guru, Swami Nikleshwaranand, Paramahansa Nikleshwaran, the program was his. My father had conducted that program in Ujjain for him, and we were there. So when the program was going on, I left that place and I said, I'll just go on wandering somewhere. I went out wandering. I was 19, 20, probably that age. I went out wandering, and then there was some temple I entered, and it was a Lord Rama temple. I sat down there because I didn't want to go for the program. I was bored there. So I sat down. I'm a young person. I sat down there. I don't know what happened to me. Same Rama whom I didn't want to see. I looked at Sita. I look at Rama. And I started crying. I don't know why. And I cried and cried, and like my eyes would just pop out. Like so much I cried for like probably 1 hour, 2 hours. I don't know what happened. One of my father's god brother, he came out around looking for me, that because they were asking for me, and then he's looking at me, and I'm like crying and going crazy about both of them. I don't know what happened. I could not understand at that point what is happening. Slowly I felt as if I am liking them. But that liking, I don't like them. I wanted to disregard. I just wanted to shut that inner voice. Anyways, that continued. Though I started liking Krishna, but Lord Rama, this point was always a point, both a bone of contention for me. Like, this is a problem. But when I reached many years later, when I went to Vrindavan and I met my Vaishnava Guru, Maluk Pithadishwar, Maharajji, and then he started explaining. And with the compassion that he explained, I think that day the knot in my heart literally broke. That thing that I was holding. He started explaining the pain of Lord Rama. And he started explaining so many other things. He said, Lord Rama, it appears that Lord Rama left Sita. It appears like that. But Sita is the soul of Rama. Can the soul and the body be separated? No. Rama loved her so much. He didn't want even one person to talk bad about her purity. He didn't want even one person to talk bad about her purity. Sita was taken by Ravan. In those times, Ravan touched Sita. Touching a married lady itself is an act of impurity. In those times, I'm talking about those times where, nowadays we hug, we have free expressions, when we meet. But in those times, she's a married lady. And Ravan touched her. That was a big problem for everybody. Raam knew how pure Sita is. Raam loved her so much. He went, crossed Lanka, killed Ravan, got her back. In Ram's eyes, never once did he feel that my Sita is impure. Never once. And then he brings her back to Ayodhya. He wants her to rule as a queen. And then one day he goes on a tour and just a city walk. And he hears people are gossiping about his chaste wife. And Ram's incarnation was that of Purushottam, best among men. Best among men. He was the king at that time. His situation was so helpless. If he kept Sita as the queen, he could not have stopped the gossip and the rumors of people. He could not have done that. He knew the love of his life. And the love of his life knew him. He didn't want Sita's image to be tainted. Even if that required to take Sita away from that poisonous place where people are spitting and talking bad about her. Imagine if it goes to Sita's ears. What will Sita go through? What will she go through? People are questioning her chastity. Such a pure lady. People are questioning her purity. Sita is pure. Under all circumstances, Sita is pure. She cannot be sitting in this place where all such of negativity is being spread about her. Raam was broken apart. He called his brother. Said, Lakshman, tell me, what do I do? I know my wife, but I don't want anybody to point fingers at her. Even if she becomes the queen, people will look at her with doubt that she stayed for 1 month with some other man. How can a queen has to be pure? How can she be sitting here on the throne? I don't want anybody to come in the court and just raise fingers at her and her character. How can I protect Sita? Lakshman, do you have anything? Tell me, how do we protect her? Lakshman said, I will take her to Sage Vasishta's ashram. If she is in that ashram, Sage Vasishta will protect her. She will live like a chaste woman. And the whole world will know about her chastity and purity. Because people understand sacrifice. Love of your life knows your love. And I know your love. But yes, we have to protect her from the evil words, from the words of evil people around. With a very, very broken heart, Raam said, Lakshman, I don't have the courage even to tell her a bye. But I know she will understand. Lakshman, please take her to Vasishta. Please. And that is when Sita went to Vasishta. Sita understood all the situations. Sita loved him. And Vasishta was their guru. Vasishta explained to her. And Sita was saved there. But that one sacrifice which Rama did made her the most devoted, the most respectable lady. We love her as goddess because Ram protected her like that. Because this was the era of Satyug, truth, qualities, maryada, limitations. That was Sita. Ram never, ever, ever, every yajna, even after leaving her, every yajna that happened, he would get a Sita maid out of gold and make her as the wife and do the puja. Without Sita, he could not live. He never discarded her. He had to take a very, very hard-hitting decision, which was hard on him too. But both of them knew it is being done to protect dharma. You know why he did that? Ram, our forefather is Manu. Manu wrote Manusmriti. And in Manusmriti, there were so many codes, very strict, stringent rules for mankind written. In fact, when Manusmriti was written, Manu is the extended mind of Bhagwan, and Manu said, I'll write it down. Everybody read it. And everybody said, these are such hard rules and regulations. Who will live? Which man can live like this, what Manu has written? And Ram said, Bhagwan, Vishnu, he said, I will become Ram, and whatever Manu has written, I will live like that, and I will see. Just to respect Manu, I will come. And Manu and Shatrupa, he came as Manu and Shatrupa's son first. It is in a place called Naimisharanya. And then he incarnated as Dashrath's son, as proper, to to impersonate the rules and the regulations, the high standards of mankind. So this was written by Manu. Lord Rama incarnated to give that respect to Manu. The whole story went, finally they are God. The whole story went through this. He did keep Sita, but he did not discard her just like that. He very respectfully put her at the ashram of his own guru, knowing that she'll be protected there. And by this one sacrifice, he protected her purity. He raised her standards, and everybody loves Ram and Sita for their sacrifice. Sacrifice makes you sacred. Got it? All right. This is how my Maharaj explained to me, and I was like, okay, I understand now. Yes, he was a king too, and he had to think about the people too. Yeah, he had to establish the rules. And that is why when he came in Krishna Avatar, he said, done with this. No more limitations. I am done. I will have 16,108 queens. I will have 8 queens. I'll have all these gopis. Whoever loves me, however you want to love me, you are free to love me. I am free. No binding, no nothing. I am free. And then he became Krishna and gave us a different form of him to enjoy. All right. Gaurav writes, Jima, thanks a lot. One more question. I have read Bible. There also evangelists tell that Jesus has said in the Bible that I have paid for your sins during crucifixions. You just need to believe in Jesus and you are delivered, and salvation will be provided and you will be delivered into heavens as promised in Bible. Here Shri Krishna says, Sarva dharma parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Kindly shed some light. Please kindly forgive me if I've quoted the philosophy of Bible wrongly. No, what he said is also right. In SRF when you go, we have in SRF in the altar, we have Jesus Christ also, and we have Krishna also, both together. So for us, Krishna is the final teacher, and Jesus Christ is the Son of God, messenger of God. For us, he is a saint. Getting it? We consider Jesus Christ as a saint who gave us the message of God. And if he says, the door to my Father is through me. Yes. He is a bhakta, he is a devotee. He is a saint, he is a prophet. If we believe in him, he will also take us. No problem with that. Absolutely no problem. For us, he is a prophet. He is a saint. And God, whom you call God, he called Isa. God is Isa. Isa is Ishwar. There are different names for Christ. Jesus Christ, we call it Christ. But Christ is actually Christos. It's come from Christos. So Christ is Christ. Christ is Krishna. No difference in both the words. Got it? Jesus, we call it Jesus, G-E-S-U-S, but in Spanish version of it will be Jesus. They call it Jesus. The Mexican Spanish people, they call it Jesus. From Jesus came Yeshu. Yeshu came Isa. So these are the different ways the word had, words have changed. Getting the point? So for us, originally, I don't see any difference. For me, yes, Jesus Christ can also take you to God. If somebody is a Christian follower, if he's sincerely following that path of his religion, God put him in that religion to follow that religion. And if he has trust in that religion, if he sincerely follows it, he will reach to God. Everybody finally is God's children, is it not? If I don't have to give him any name, if the English name God makes me relate with him, everybody will reach to him. It is not that God will tell, only the Hindus will reach me. No. He doesn't say that. That is why Gita philosophy is so important. He says, every living being, every living entity. He does not say the only one who comes from Jesus. He does not say the only one who comes from Hindu saints. He does not say that. He does not say only one who comes from Muhammad or who comes from Guru Nanak. He does not say that. He says, every living entity is my part and parcel. And I live dharma, there will be a prophet, there will be a saint. Every place. And for that also, there is an answer in Bhagavatam. Krishna can incarnate in any number of forms, at any number of places, at any number of times. Everything is but his vibhuti, or he himself. So with that open mind, when we see, yes, if somebody is sincerely following, because finally it's God who is the guru, nobody else. Nobody else. Everything, God has taken different forms to lead you to them. Okay. So, and regarding that, what you said, Jesus died for our sins. I think that is a made-up statement. I don't believe in that statement. Jesus showed us the path of love and path of forgiveness. When I look at Jesus, he again was a very strong personality, but I'll tell you, he went on the cross, and 3 days later, they call it resurrection of Jesus. They call it, right? What happened in those 3 days? What happened in those 3 days? And how did he resurrect it? That means the body didn't die. Jesus was in samadhi for 3 days. When he was put on the cross, I think Jesus's greatness was his forgiveness. Unmatched in the world. He takes his own cross, and then they make him stand on the cross and then take a nail and then hammer it here. The pain that he must have gone through, call it his helplessness or whatever. He didn't have an army to fight against the oppressors. He had to go on the cross. He got his, and then he goes on the cross and he's going through that much pain. Even in that pain, the prayer that comes out is like, "Oh Lord, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Oh my God. Can anybody pray like that? "Oh Lord, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." This is true son of a God. This is no less than Prahlad. "Oh Lord, forgive my father, for he does not know what he is doing." This is truly like Draupadi. "Oh Lord, forgive Ashwatthama, for he does not know what he is doing." True son of God. He forgives. Even in the peak of his pain, he forgives and prays. If somebody follows that, because that is what Krishna is telling everywhere in Gita. Forgive even your enemy. Forgive even your enemy. Kamakhya's vachan. Forgive, 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 forgive. We can't forgive somebody who tells us bad words, we cannot forgive them. So if Jesus claims, "I am the Son of God," he proved it. And that is why I look at him as saint. And when Yogananda put him on the altar, I really respect him, because Yogananda gave it to us. Okay. Okay, Rares has given some good inputs. Christos, the anointed one. Yes. Here in Tantrism would mean someone who took Diksha, anointed by Guru Kripa. His guru was John the Baptist. Then he went for 40 days of sadhana in the desert. Christianity, as we know today, is far from Christianity that is original. You're right, Rares. That is how it is. And I will tell you one more thing. After he was resurrected, he was in Samadhi, and then he resurrected. And then he left towards the east. And there are certain one mosque in Kashmir, and there is a monastery somewhere in Ladakh where a proof of Jesus visiting those areas, somewhere in Afghanistan-Pakistan border, the proof is there that he had visited those areas. Okay, just letting you know on that also. So after he resurrected, he left to those part, which was Indian part only. And then Rares writes, scientifically name of Jesus is actually in Hebrew, Yeshua. Yishu. You're the father, he, mother, Yeshua. Okay. The fire between the two, his name means the same thing as the expression of Shiva Shakti. He burns sins through his name because his name has the quality of Agni Tattva. That's a good thought. Very good thought. Jatin writes, Jai Shri Krishna, I am single and chose to stay unmarried through my life. Can I have the liberation? Yeah. Can I have the liberation or mukti? Is it necessary to have our children for Pindadana and Shradvidhi? Please help me clarify my doubt according to the Bhagavad Gita. Jatin, we had this class. I explained in Hindi, today's Hindi class. If you have get time, after the class, you go and listen to the Hindi lecture also. Liberation is not dependent on your offsprings or your anybody else. Your liberation is in your hand. The one who chants God's name and leaves this body, chanting God's name, is liberated. Now, since you have come today, I'll chant one shloka from Gita itself. Krishna says, Anta kale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samad bhavam yati nastyatra sanchaya. Krishna says, those who leave this body, remembering my form, taking my name, they will come to my bhava, my abode. There is no doubt about it. And once who goes to that abode, somebody who goes to that abode is described as, once you go there, you don't come back down here on this planet Earth. That is mukti by itself. Anybody who is constantly chanting the name of Krishna or Rama or Mukunda, mukti, who gives you mukti or liberation? Mukunda gives you mukti or liberation. Mukunda name means giver of liberation. So anybody who is sincerely chanting this name and chanting, he leaves his body. He is liberated. You don't have to be married or unmarried. That is immaterial. No. Nobody can liberate you other than you. You work for your own liberation. And it is very simple. Chant God's name under all circumstances. Hare Ranama, Hare Ranama, Hare Ranama Kevalam. Kalor nasti, kalor nasti, kalor nasti, gati anyatha. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way in this Kali Yuga. Only Hare Ranam, Hare Ranam, only Hari Nam, name of Hari, name of Hari, name of Hari, name of Hari. Always chanted. All right. So forget about all rituals, chant God's name. Namajya says, wow, I'm learning so much from all your comments and questions. And of course, Sita Shakti, thank you. Smita Sakhi, thank you very much for all your knowledge and for you to sharing. Gaurav writes, Ma Kashmir, the Samadhi of Jesus is also there. Yes, Samadhi of Jesus is also there. I think it's in a mosque area. Namasha writes, wow, I love it. I knew that. And no, you confirm, Smita Sakhi. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we have time. I wanted to start the first chapter, so we will start it. Observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. First chapter we are just entering. The shloka is Dhritarashtra uvacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kim akurvata sanjaya. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjay, after my sons and sons of Pandu assembled in the pilgrimage of Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? I will read the purport also for this. There are a lot of words here which we will discuss tomorrow, but let me just read the purport. Bhagavad Gita is the widely read theistic science summarized in the Gita Mahatmya. Mahatmya means glorification. Glorification of the Gita. There it says that one should read Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly with the help of a person who is a devotee of Sri Krishna and try to understand it without personal motivated interpretation. The example of clear understanding is there in the Bhagavad Gita itself. In the way the teaching is understood by Arjuna, who heard the Gita directly from the Lord. If someone is fortunate enough to understand the Bhagavad Gita in that line of disciplic succession without motivated interpretation, then he surpasses all Vedic wisdom and all the scriptures of the world. One will find in Bhagavad Gita all that is contained in the scriptures. But the reader will also find things which are not to be found elsewhere. That is the specific standard of Gita. It is the perfect theistic science because it is directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. The topics discussed by Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, as described in the Mahabharata, form the basic principle of this great philosophy. It is understood that this philosophy evolved in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is a sacred place of pilgrimage, from the immemorial time of the Vedic age. It was spoken by the Lord when he was present personally on this planet for the guidance of mankind. The word dharma kshetra, a place where religious rituals are performed, is significant because on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present on the side of Arjuna. Dhritarashtra, the father of the Kurus, was highly doubtful about the possibility of his son's ultimate victory. In his doubt, he inquired from his secretary Sanjaya, what did they do? He was confident that both his sons and the sons of his younger brother Pandu were assembled in the field of Kurukshetra for a determined engagement of the war. Still, his inquiry is significant. He did not want a compromise between the cousins and brothers, and he wanted to be sure of the fate of his sons on the battlefield, because the battle was arranged to be fought at Kurukshetra, which is mentioned elsewhere in the Vedas as a place of worship, even for the denizens of heaven. Dhritarashtra became very fearful about the influence of the holy place on the outcome of the battle. He knew very well that this would influence Arjuna and the sons of Pandu favorably, because by nature they were all virtuous. Sanjay was a student of Vyas, and therefore, by the mercy of Vyas, Sanjay was enabled to envision the battlefield of Kurukshetra even while he was in the room of Dhritarashtra. And so Dhritarashtra asked him about the situation in the battlefield. Both the Pandavas and the sons of Dhritarashtra belong to the same family, but Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed herein. He deliberately claimed only his sons as Kurus, and he separated the sons of Pandu from the family heritage. One can thus understand the specific position of Dhritarashtra in his relationship with his nephews, the son of Pandu. As in the paddy field, the unnecessary plants are taken out. So it is expected from the very beginning of these topics that in the religious field of Kurukshetra, where the father of religion, Sri Krishna, was present, the unwanted plants like Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, and others would be wiped out, and the thoroughly religious persons like Yudhishthir would be established by the Lord. This is the significance of the word dharma kshetre kurukshetre, apart from the historical and Vedic importance. So we all know kind of the Mahabharata story, but here in Bhagavad Gita, we will not get into the stories too much. I will try my best not to get into the stories. Because the first chapter is a description of the army, and there are a lot of names being taken of different people. Only few significant, stories maybe I'll take, but not of everybody. Okay, because we are not reading Mahabharata, we are reading the Bhagavad Gita. The whole essence essence of Bhagavad Gita, it starts from chapter 2. So this first chapter has close to around 44, 46 shlokas. I'll try to finish it as soon as possible, and we will try to get into the second chapter where the science of the soul starts. And we have to learn from there. Sankhya, it begins with the science of soul, and then we go on understanding everything deeper. So here, Mahabharata, as per the Mahabharata stories, whatever we know, there are two parties. One is the Kauravas, one is the Pandavas. Kauravas had a leader, King Dhritarashtra, who is blind. Dhritarashtra, the name itself has a meaning. Vyas Dev, who wrote this, whenever he uses a name, every name has some significance. But the prominent names will take the significance of those. So Dhritarashtra means somebody, Rashtra means nation, Dhrit means holding. So someone who is holding the nation is called Dhritarashtra. And so he's the king of the nation, Dhritarashtra. And if the king of the nation is blind, not only blinded externally, but internally also, then you can imagine where the nation will go. Blind following the blind, everybody falls in a ditch. He was blind. His wife is considered a great sati because when she came to know that, oh, my husband is blind, she also took a piece of cloth and she tied it on her eyes and said, I will also be blind because my husband cannot enjoy these worldly things. I will also be like that. So instead of becoming the eyes to her husband, she also blindly follows her husband and becomes blind. Just ties a cloth throughout her life. Now both the king and the queen are blind. They have 100 sons. The 100 sons have eyes, but they are blinded by their ignorance, by their greed, by their ego. And they're all ready to fight. So this is one party. Dhritarashtra had one brother, Pandu. His 5 sons are the Pandavas, are those 5. And their mother Kunti was there. This blind king and queen, Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, they wanted to rule the kingdom forever, as if everything is going to live forever. They never wanted to give anything. This was Dhritarashtra's word. I won't even give a space of a needle to these Pandavas. That's how his son was, so arrogant, Duryodhana. And all the fight was like how to remove them, just wipe them out. And they tried their best throughout. Even when these people were 5 kids, they tried to kill Bhim by drowning him. They gave him poison and drowned him in Ganga. But Bhim goes inside and the snakes bite him and the snakes take away all his poison, and then the snakes fill him with so much poison that he becomes very strong. So wherever there is Krishna, that person is always protected. So they tried to kill Bhim, nothing happened. They played other tricks. They said, okay, we will give you a place where you can make your palace. And they gave them a place which was only infested by snakes, very bad place, like nobody can live there. So these Pandavas and Kunti, they go there and take that place, they clean it up, they make a beautiful city there called Indraprasth. When they make Indraprasth, they invite all their Kaurava cousins and everybody. The city was so beautiful, it was so illusionary. That when the people entered the palace, Duryodhana, he enters the palace and he looks at Draupadi and he's looking everywhere and he's jealous in his mind. Why do they have such a beautiful palace? We gave them a bad place, but they've turned it out into so beautiful palace. They are succeeding in everything. Jealousy. And in that palace, there were certain illusions created. One of the illusions was certain places looked like there is floor, but it was actually filled with water. And certain places looked like it was, certain places had water, but it looked like there was a plain floor. So so Duryodhana didn't realize, and he was walking in the palace, and then suddenly he falls in one of the ponds there, which is filled with water. He thought that it is a floor, and he fell there. And Duryodhana and then Draupadi laughed. This is just a story, okay? This is what happened, the series of events. Duryodhana got angry. How can she laugh at me? She publicly laughed. He said, I will show her. Imagine a man. What quality of man is he? He wants to take a revenge from a woman. That itself shows what he is. And then in that whole assembly, when everybody was meeting, Krishna kills Shishupal. There's one other. Shishupal was very angry at Krishna, and he gives him bad words, cuss words. And at the 100th cuss words, Krishna kills him. That creates a big furor. Everybody's angry. They come out of that place, and now everybody has to take the revenge. All these men want to take the revenge and throw them out of Indraprastha. Jealousy. And then they plot the scheme of dice game. And the entire dice game, now being king, now Yudhishthira is also king of Indraprastha, and Dhritarashtra is the king of the other place where they're living. Now, Hastinapur. So they invite them for the game of dice. And being kings, you cannot say no to the game of dice. It's a matter of respect. If you say no, you have said, okay, I'm defeated already. So Yudhishthira accepts it, comes. All the 5 brothers and these Kauravas and their mama, maternal uncle, a cunning person called Shakuni. He's an expert in gambling. Not only expert, he had some, shaktis with him by which he could change the dice. Using all his cunningness, they played the game in such a manner that the Pandavas lost their kingdom, their palace, everything. In the last point, they betted on Draupadi. And Draupadi was, I've told this story many times, Draupadi was brought in the court, they lost it all, then they had to go into exile. In the end, after finishing the exile, when they came back, even then these people said, I will not give even a place of a needle to these people. And then it goes into a situation where war is inevitable. Draupadi and Pandavas, they try their best, the war should not happen. They send Krishna as peace messenger. But the other party, now not only jealousy, greed. My thing, our thing, we will not give them anything. We will destroy them completely. Krishna goes there, tries to explain, nobody wants to listen. The war has to happen. And even though this party didn't want to be a part, they were pulled into it, and the war went on. But this party, Pandu's party, always lived a life of righteousness. What felt right, they did it. They were not selfish people who hurt others. They were not greedy for anything. They lived a life like beggars only, because they were going from one forest to another forest to another forest. That was their life. They lived like that. For them, the richness, the palaces didn't matter much. But Krishna had decided, when Draupadi was dragged into the court of men, into the assembly of men, when Krishna saw that a helpless lady and nobody is coming to protect her, Krishna at that day decided they will all be gone. They cannot live. This will be revealed later, It gets revealed later. So this war had to happen, because this war was the war between righteousness and dharma and adharma. Protecting a lady This is the important dharma. Burning somebody's house while people are there inside. These people did that. Trying to kill someone's kid by poisoning them. This is not done. This is not the right conduct, right karma. So many things like this. Krishna made a list of all that. And he said, they have to be punished. Their actions have to be punished. They cannot be there sitting as the king. So then this war happened because Krishna, God wanted it to happen. But throughout this, before the war, 1 hour before the war, Gita is spoken. Vyasdev heard it. He compiled Gita as a separate book that we are going to read and understand. Tomorrow we'll understand Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, and more details about it. So today we'll close. Let me just see some of the things, what you guys have written. Radesh writes, I thank you for your patience. You show a lot of patience with our questions. I sometimes feel a bit guilty for asking too much, to be honest. Radesh, keep asking. You're not the only one asking. In my Hindi class also, I encourage everybody to ask. And I'm telling you, by the end of 6th chapter of Gita, all your questions will be answered. And in 7th chapter, 8th chapter, I'll keep probing you. You have any questions? And we'll be like, no, everything is answered. This is the beauty of Gita. We are sitting here to understand it from the Lord himself. So please never ever feel that you are, you're troubling me. No. I am sitting here to do God's work. And Krishna is happy and Krishna is answering. He's doing it. And all your questions have to be answered. When we are sitting, all your questions have to be answered. Okay? Never. Even this, I used to question a lot to my teachers. It's like, there's a question mark right here on my head if they saw me. So please ask. Jatin writes, thanks, Ma, for clarifying my doubt regarding liberation. I am chanting mantra of Shakti since a year, specifically Navarana mantra, as our Kuldevata is Ma Chamunda. Is that okay? Or should I add chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in my daily chanting meditation? Because Kleem Beej mantra is a common beej for Ma Kali and Lord Krishna. Please help me, Guru Ma. Yes, Kleem is a beej mantra for both. If you are doing Navarana mantra, if you have faith in Shakti, perfect. If you want to add Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, more than welcome. It is very, very beautiful mantra. But it's your choice. Even if you're doing Navarana mantra, it is perfect. Okay. Both you do, both are good. If you don't want to do only one, do Navarana, no problem. Aman says, Ma, don't finish this series ever. It's a treat to sit at your feet and listen to the glories of Krishna. Aman, my students, previous students also said the same thing. So when we finished the first Gita, I thought the students will be done. Okay, we did it for some few months, and then I went to my India trip. The moment I finished my Gita class, all the 18 chapters, first thing I do is I book my India trip. 2 months of break, and I go to Vrindavan. So when I came back, I thought, okay, the older students must be done with Gita. No, they all attended. Some of them attended three sessions, and some of them are now taking classes. So Aman, yes, I will teach, and you have to learn it sincerely so that you can teach. Okay, make your notes. Two things. I'm banking on you, Aman. Tripura Rahasya and Gita. Learn it sincerely. Ask every questions. Rares is already translating into Romana. I am very happy because, when you start teaching, you learn more. So like my other students, they have started teaching. I want you to learn more. Make your notes. In future, you guys will be taking it over. Okay. That is right. Such a relief that I can ask without guilt of traveling. This was quite a tension for me in reality. Never. Always freely ask anything. Jatin writes, thank Guru Ma for clarifying all my doubt. Hare Krishna, Jai Mataji, I am blessed. Aman writes, Ji Ma, absolutely. It's only through your kripa. You will. All right. So we will end the class now and we will meet tomorrow. Jai Shri Krishna, Hari Bol.